Hello, and welcome to the TrailManners podcast. I'm your host, Eric Manning, coming to you from the beautiful trails in Ogden, Utah, but connecting you to wherever trail, ultra, and mountain running takes us. We'll bring trail running to life with amazing athletes, discuss the latest topics, epic journeys, and get you stoked for your next trail adventure. We're sharing the moments that make life special, because even a rough day on the trail beats a good day indoors, and nothing beats time spent with good friends and great stories. Catch us here weekly for your dose of dirt, vert, and good vibes. So now it's time to top off your water, grab some cheese curds, and join us for this week's podcast, where we take you deep into the heart of our sport. It's go time. Hello and welcome to episode number 307 of the TrailManners podcast. The TrailManners podcast is produced for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at TrailManners.com. Come back often, and please feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at TrailManners. And don't forget to subscribe, review, and rate us on iTunes. If you're so inclined, TrailManners would really appreciate any contribution via our Patreon account at patreon.com/TrailManners. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get after it. Well, hello and welcome back to the TrailManners podcast. I'm your host, Eric Manning, and next to me, as always, is my four-legged buddy, Gunner. My awesome dog. My partner, my friend, the one on the logo. Well, it's been quite a while since we've recorded an episode here, the TrailManners podcast. It's been a challenging year and a half, I know, for everybody, but we're back. We are excited. We're amped. We're all those words to get this thing relaunched. We've missed it. We've got a lot of positivity, hopefully, to share to everybody, and just want to thank everybody who has listened to the show and supported us in the past 6 years. Yes, 6 years doing the show. And hopefully we can add some entertainment to your commutes, your runs, your office space, whatever you're doing, to come back and give you quality episodes. So there's so many trail running podcasts out there. 6 years ago when Joel Hatch and I started this show, there was not as many. There's so many right now, and I'm sure they're all fantastic. But as you know, we kind of do things a little bit differently here, so we're going to relaunch and kind of keep up what we've always done. You know, be positive, not take ourselves too seriously. We're definitely going to have some laughs. We're hopefully going to entertain. Maybe even you might learn a thing or two. But we also know we're not the law when it comes to all the cool things trail running. There's so many variables out there, and you're going to see that in our next couple episodes, which I'm really excited about. To bring those to you. So we'll be launching this episode. It's going to be December 14th, Tuesday, the 14th. And 6 years. We've done this podcast. It started, when was it? 11/24 of 2015. So 6 years ago we started this, Joel Hatch and myself. As many of you know, if you've listened to the podcast in the past, Joel's no longer with us doing the show, but I guarantee you we will get him back on for a few episodes. He's not aware of that yet, but you know, Joel, he's not going to say no. We'll tempt him with some beverages or some, cheese curds, because that's what we're all about here. But if you've listened to us in the past, thank you so much again for your support. If you have not, if you're new to the show, we've got 306 other episodes still out there that you can go back and listen to. A lot of great interviews with some amazing individuals, some amazing athletes. And then our single track sessions, which is just our junk drawer, some friendly banter, talking about the sport, where we're at. And so much has changed within this past year and a half. And when I run into people on the trails, I've done a lot of traveling this past year, seeing people that for the first time, just out on the trails. It was great to hear that people were interested still in the podcast. Just a different approach, a different thing we do. We're going to continue with that. The emails, the support, the nudges, I truly appreciate. And hopefully we don't disappoint, because that's concerning. When myself and Joel did this for so long, it was just I think it was fun. Obviously on my side it was, and with the feedback we received. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Both myself, it's a little challenging, just one person. We're going to have some guest hosts. We're going to have great shows lined up for you. So hopefully you can spread the word, let people know that we're back, we're out there, and we're ready. We are ready to entertain. That's our hopes. I gave you a little history of the TrailManners podcast, but let's talk about what's to come. What's to come this year with the TrailManners podcast. Hopefully some good changes, nothing too major, but we always take feedback. When I say TrailManners, I always mean the listener. Everybody out there that listens to the show, you're a part of this. You're part of the TrailManners family. And so when I say TrailManners, I'm talking about everything. So if you have any ideas, anything you want to hear about, any guests you want to hear about, just let me know. manners@trailmanners.com. My email is always open. You can reach out, give me some ideas, what you'd like to see from the podcast, because without you, the listener, obviously this wouldn't be much of a podcast. And we've been pretty fortunate in the past with the listeners and the downloads. We just want to keep that going. You're going to see a website facelift. I know we did that just recently, but there's going to be some more changes to that. Woody Footies are back. Woody Footies, where did your feet take you? We're going to have weekly winners. We're going to have monthly winners, and we're working on some prizes, maybe some hats for that on our huge budget here that we have. But that's always fun. So if you're not sure what a Woody Footy is, WDYFTY, where did your feet take you? Every Sunday on Facebook on the TrailManners account, what we do is we ask you to share a photo of where your feet took you that week. It's been a huge success in the past. And when I say that, it's just the engagement part of things. I love to see where people run. There's so many locations and places, and everybody has their favorite, from like desert running to mountain running to high alpine lakes to even run around town and see where you do your thing. So every Sunday we do a post. Where'd your feet take you? You can see the new logo we have with a foot. Post your photo, post where you're at, because that's always fun to see who's tuning in, who's listening, and we'll still continue with that. We also have a community page. Now, the community page is just a little bit different. It's a little bit smaller. It's the TrailManners community page, and you can find it on our Facebook account. And what that is a great place for people to ask questions, advice, whether it's racing, gear, maybe you're new to the sport. It's a safe place, right? Any negativity you get thrown out right away. There's not even a warning. It's just a place where I like people to have the opportunity to go to ask that question. Even if it's asked 50 times and you didn't search for it, ask it again. We are just here to help in any way we can. So check that out. As I mentioned before, we will have some guest co-hosts. That's always fun, just to have other points of view on there when we do have an episode and, we are talking to a guest, just to have a couple people to bounce that off. We're going to have contests. I'm always on the search to give away free stuff. So our next 2 episodes, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. We have a contest, and it's going to be sweet. So, and with the contest, I like it so you don't have to do a whole lot, right? Earn free stuff without jumping through hoops. Try to keep them simple. Just give gear away. Keep people having fun. Keep people engaged. We get a lot of that from friends of the show and just things we come across. So keep your eye open for those. We do have some new shirts on our website at trailmanners.com. Anything you buy on our website, we got a few beanies now that it's cold again. That just helps support the show. We also have a Patreon account, patreon.com/trailmanners. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it's just an opportunity to give back to the show. What we do here is free, as far as getting it out for the listener. But again, there's costs incurred on our end, which are fine. We've done it for years. But if you want to donate a couple bucks a month, whatever you feel comfortable with, there's different levels you can do that with. And it just helps support the show and keeps us going with everything we do and everything we need here. We're also going to do some predictions, race predictions. Those are always fun. And the sport has changed so much. And if you look at some of these entry lists, especially like a Western States, a Hard Rock 100, can we say stacked? Unbelievable the people have gotten in these races as far as the people looking to cross first. But we'll also follow the, let's say mid-pack, average runner. There's always word differences because some people like to say the elite runners or maybe professional runners. We all know what we're talking about. We'll kind of keep that simple as well, but we do some of that. We're going to give some special awards at the end of the year, and as the year goes on, I know we're at the end of 2020, or 2021, but in 2022, we're going to be giving out awards throughout the year. Just fun things. We do have and have in the past, and I'm so grateful for a very close following. There's a core of TrailManners followers. We want to recognize them along the way, some cool accomplishments, some cool achievements, as well as pick up people as we go. Like I said, there's so many podcasts out there, and they do such an amazing job. We just want to add to the quiver that you listen to. And again, just hopefully we do things differently enough. We haven't really changed over the course of 6 years. We kind of keep to what we do. And I know this could be good or bad, but I honestly don't listen to podcasts. And the reason being, and I've said this in the past, I don't want it to sway how we do things. We came out 6 years ago. We set a tone, how we wanted to do things, kind of a structure, kind of what we felt was, and here's the word, authentic to who we are. And we just want to keep that. And I know there's so many good shows out there, and I don't want to listen and go, oh, an accident, could be, I'll say an accident because you pick up on it or something. But I do listen to snippets here and there, especially if they've got a guest I want to hear, something like that. And of course, you've always heard in the past, I'm always interested in the sound quality. So we'll keep that going. We're going to have some new hats coming out. On our website, we will have some articles. We'd love to have you, if you want to participate in that, we'd love to post them for you, like race reports, different things. We just want it to be a nice hub for people to look for information and some good reading, not just some podcasts throughout that. So you're going to see that on there. So we'll have some people that do guest writing. I mentioned some special awards. We're going to do Woody Footy of the Year, Performances of the Year, things like that. And there's a few other categories we'll talk about as we go through 2022. Another thing that we started a little bit last year, and I'm really excited for. We have some TrailManners flags, just some small flags that fold up. You can put in your vest. If you want one of these and take it to a cool location, you're in a race, you're going to some awesome destination. I've got a TrailManners logo and I've got Woody Footy logos. I'm going to send those to you for free. What I'd like to see is you take a picture wherever you're at. Maybe it's a cool peak. Maybe it's a race you've been wanting to do. Maybe it's just an adventure run. Sign it with your name and just send it back to us. And at the end of the year, I want to see these flags covered with different signatures. So that's kind of our TrailManners flags. All you have to do, the best way to contact me is manners@trailmanners.com if you want to see one of those for a race or an event, or do you think it's a cool opportunity to take a picture with the flag. I want to see those go around and all over, and I'll ship those to you, and you just send them back. And that's the trust thing that we have here with TrailManners. It's not like you'd want to keep it. It's not some crazy cool souvenir. I don't know, maybe at the end of the year we would, and get some more for the following year. But anyway, looking forward to the TrailManners flag stuff. And we'll also have the picture of the year with the flag for another award. And we'll just gather really cool awards throughout the year, prizes, and send those out. We're going to talk about group runs, and that could change. We'll do some local stuff here. I'm in the Ogden, Utah area, for those that aren't aware of that. We'll do some group runs, but I've also been traveling a little bit more, especially with my adventure mullet, and that is my like this 10-foot trailer, an E-Pro trailer that I pull with my Subaru. And we will go ahead and maybe do some runs in other locations. Like if I know I'm traveling somewhere. Sorry, I just took a drink of my coffee in my taper up mug. If we know we're going somewhere and we want to, meet some people while we're there, we'll go ahead and schedule a little, hey, who wants to show up and go for a run, meet new people. It's something I've always enjoyed, is meeting listeners to the podcast. We'll do those, maybe some meetups, maybe a run and then go have a beverage somewhere. There's going to be some videos through YouTube. That's something I'm really pushing myself to do this year, because I do have some cool video equipment, but I'm just not super tech savvy. And what's the other word I'm looking for? I get bored easy, so it's hard to do video stuff. We're going to do trail cleanup days, and this is hugely important, and I know so many of you do this already, just normally, or even you select days in your local running community, but we're going to set some of those up and get some photos as we go throughout the year, and then just stuff as we come, just special announcements as we come, things we want to do, ideas from the TrailManners family out there. Then, of course, I mentioned before, and I hate to always plug or plug it, but the Patreon account, if you can support the show in any way, we'd greatly appreciate it. Currently, there's no sponsors of the show. Everything's just 100% through here. But it's not to say we wouldn't have any. If it's a quality product and somebody, reached out, we would see it and, potentially support it on the podcast. If you're a race director, in the past, we've also done some ads for you to talk about your race. And then I also been emceeing finish lines for races. So if there's any of those things you're interested in, reach out. It's going to be on the website as well, just kind of like the process and the procedure and all that crazy, wicked stuff. So how about some upcoming episodes, Eric? Yeah, how about it? So we've got, like I said, this launches the 14th, December 14th, 2021, this show you're listening to. The next day, we're going to have 6 years now, the Christmas gift guide. We're going to have 2 parts. So we have one on Wednesday the 15th, and we have one on Thursday the 16th. So we're going to have 2 Christmas gift shows. So 3 podcasts this week hit you before the holiday season. Super excited about the Christmas gift shows. And there's some prizes and giveaways. So pay attention to those, because all we want is some feedback or some referrals. Maybe that's what it is, of some cool gear maybe that we missed. All you have to do is email me or post on Facebook on one of the Christmas gift guides what you'd like to see. And I've got some killer prizes. I've got a bunch of TrailManners swag, and I've also got a couple gift cards, $75 gift cards to Path Projects to hand out. This is all free. They will just mail out to you at random based on your participation. So we like to give stuff away here. But listen this week to our 2 Christmas gift guides. The following week, we're going to have another guest on talking about the Hurt 100. It's their second attempt at the Hurt. They're in Hawaii, so we're going to be talking to him a little bit about pre-Hurt, the race, not injuries, pre-Hurt. And then when they come back sometime in January, we'll get them on to see how it went, kind of a post. We're going to talk to another guest about Roofer running up for air, which is not just in Utah. There's other locations, Montana, Colorado, and it's something that happens in February. It's a clean air push because of the air quality that we have, and it's a fun little event that I actually am jumping into this year, the 6-hour event here in Malin's Peak here in Ogden, Utah, but we'll talk about that. And we're also going to have an interesting thing we're going to do. We're going to bring on one of the race directors from the DC 50 race. DC 50, those of you that, watch, listen, anything, it blew up in October. It was a race they had an early storm that came in, and media blew it up for sure compared to what it was. I had some friends there. But it was just, it's going to be a great learning experience for the race directors. We're going to have Jake Kilgore on the show. He's going to talk about a few other things as well. But before we have him on the show, the listeners, I'm going to let you guys send me some questions. If you have questions for Jake with the DC 50, because it's Davis County 50, based on what you heard, we want to ask questions. What did they learn? What would they have done differently? Whatever the questions are, as long as they're, not too negative. That's not what this show's about. We're not here to, hang anybody. But, just some down-to-earth questions that you would have for them on what transpired this year. If you haven't seen it, just Google DC 50. There was a lot that went on. It was on CNN. It was all over the news about runners being lost and injured on a mountain, and that just wasn't the case. There were some things, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like nothing bad happened, but it wasn't to the extent that the headlines read. And it's unfortunate that media does take some of that stuff and run with it without having all the facts. But I guess that's the time we live in, right? And then we also, one of the great things that I enjoy, we have an Ask TrailManners segment every Saturday on Facebook. There's just a post that says, ask me a question. We'll answer those during the week. Some of them are educated answers. Some I may even reach out to people I know that have a little bit more experience in that realm, and some are just whimsical. But they're Ask TrailManners questions, and it really is anything. And I've got a few already this year that we'll go ahead and answer real quick before we move on. One of them is from Trinity. She had 3 questions. The first one is a favorite pre-race food. What is my favorite pre-race food? And if you've got pre-race food you like, you can, definitely comment on this post through Facebook with the podcast. My favorite pre-race food changes. I don't have a favorite because it seems like I always tinker. It's like sometimes something works for me, sometimes another thing works for me. So I don't have a pre-race favorite, and sometimes it depends on where I'm at. So if I travel to a race, it might be a little more difficult to find something. Now, I could always take it with me, but if I fly, whatever. So it does vary a little bit. But what I like to do is I definitely like to have some greens and I like to have some protein. I'm not a nutritionist, but I do know my body, right? I know one time the night before a race, I had some killer sushi. It tasted so good, but the next day wasn't so good. Yeah, the next day during the race, it had some adverse effects on me. So my favorite pre-race food definitely varies. I do like some protein though, and I just like the taste of meat. So there's that. Baked potatoes, some veggies. I usually don't have desserts. I'm not a soda drinker, so it's usually water or the adult beverage on the beer side. Most of you know, I'm an IPA guy, but I always will do an IPA. Favorite beer from Trinity as well. Speaking of that, that's a loaded question, because if you are a beer drinker on any realm, you do understand that there's new flavors coming out all the time, from whoever it is. And right now, I've always been an IPA guy. One of my favorites, I have like kind of a top 3 to 5, is Junior Astronaut Juice from Illuminated. Absolutely one of my favorites that I enjoy. Mother Earth has a plethora of favorites, but they've definitely canceled a few. There's one right now that I got. It's a limited release, Wet Hop Dreams. Incredible. Such a good flavor. So I have my favorite beers definitely rotate. Another one I like is stuff from Stone. Let's see. Ballast Point. There's a lot. And we do bring out beers through our shows and we talk about them. But today I'm having some coffee. I've got some Daily Rise coffee here, a local coffee. It's a new blend called TrailManners, so I'm drinking some of that in my taper up mug because it's early in the morning. So I do have some standards when it comes to beer. I'm still drinking my coffee this morning. Snacks for long runs. This is also from Trinity. What's my favorite snacks for long runs? Long run favorite snacks, Scratch bars. Scratch Labs makes amazing bars, savory or sweet. Those are my go-to without a doubt as far as a snack goes, and not like gels and everything else, but I do love me those. And funny enough, and this is going to get some giggles, Uncrustables. Give me an Uncrustable. Oh, they keep pretty well. I did find if you keep them in your pocket for 10 hours, sometimes they get a little mushy. But I love me some Uncrustables. Grape jelly, peanut butter, my favorite, but you can't go wrong with the Nutella ones. That kind of reminds you of racing. Not a huge strawberry guy, so the strawberry ones I make are not my thing, but those are my favorite snacks for long runs. Some real food, if you will, and something heavier in my stomach, and then, of course, whatever the aid stations have, I'll graze on. Got a question from longtime listener, good guy, Chris Pack. He asks, winter gear essentials. Well, this is going to be different for everybody. And the best way to say this, winter gear for me, I don't wear pants. So that's the first thing you think about. However, saying that, Path Projects just came out with the Killam pant, and I do have a pair of those. It is an essential just in case the weather is colder. I absolutely wear shorts, anything 20 and above. 20 degrees and above, I'm wearing shorts. 20 degrees and below, it honestly depends on what it looks like outside, how long I'm running, if I know it's going to warm up quickly. So that's a tough one. So winter gear essentials, I think people, depending on where you're at, I have a TrailManners buff, no plug for the show, I just love them, that I take with me no matter what. And I take them in the summer too, because you never know if you get too hot, you can drip it in a creek. And I just double it up on my wrist and just keep it there. Or obviously if I'm wearing it, because it's cold, I have that on my head. I do light gloves. I don't do heavy gloves because I warm up so well. And gear essentials for me, you got to layer. I like a soft shell, like a Houdini, something in that line so I can layer a little bit. I would say those are really the winter gear essentials. Traction's there, but that really does vary depending on where you're at and the weather. So I would say essentials for winter. I always take a buff with me. You got gloves. It's nice to have a shell, pair of pants that you can rely on. I don't wear tights. I used to wear tights, but I don't anymore because sometimes even after I run, I go get some coffee or do whatever. And, I don't want people thinking I, stole stuff out of the produce section or anything. So I wear baggy, and the Killam pant isn't like super baggy, but it's definitely not tight. So I'm just not a tights guy. I know a lot of people are, no big deal, but I'm just not a tights guy or a huge pants guy. No mas pantalones. We're known for IPAs, cheese curds, and no pants here on the show. But I'm wearing pants now. From Chris Williams, longtime listener as well, and participate always on social media, sending in their Woody Footies. Best toe socks when you will be in water or sand. Okay, so let's preface this right now. I do not wear toe socks. I struggle with toe socks. I know there's some great ones. I mean, obviously, Injinji's the one everybody thinks about. I'm just not a toe sock person. Not to say they're bad, because I know people that love them, but I'm just not. So I did ask a few people, and it just came to the same thing. Like, I have some Injinji's I love. I have some Injinji's I love. And Chris, I'm sure you wear those. If you're into toe socks, you have them. But no one ever really said like water or sand. I know sometimes in the wintertime I'll wear a wool blend sock, like from Features. And it does help with moisture. Sand is just nasty. I don't care. I'm not a sand guy. And I just got back from Kauai a couple weeks ago. And I was on the beach a lot, but I've never been a sand. I don't like sand. I do not like being sticky, and I don't like sand. Two of the ickies for me. Icky, sticky, and no sand. So, Chris, I don't think that probably helps a whole lot, but when I did talk to people that did wear toe socks, they just mentioned, oh, my Injinji's do great. Water, I think anything's going to get wet, so then it just depends on the feel after that. And I think sand is just evil, so I think it's going to find a way to get in every crack, crevice, hole, nit, anything. I could be wrong. I know people wear gaiters that definitely help with that, so could depend on the shoe as well. But if you got feedback on any of these questions, feel free to post that to help everybody out, especially with winter gear essentials. Some people do like poles. There's different things there, and toe socks, right? I think those ones will be good ones. So anyway, let's wrap this up. This is just a little intro, and welcome back to the show. Podcast ideas we're looking for. If you're going to be running your first 100-miler in 2022, please reach out. I would love to chat with you a little bit, maybe get you on the show to talk about your first 100-mile race. Those are always fun. Or, hey, how about you're looking to do your first ultra trail race in 2022, your first ultra? We can get you on. But it's not to say if you're not doing either one of those, we can't get you on. Here we do have, historically, we've had podcasts with, Anna Frost and Ricky Gates and Carl Meltzers and, what people would consider the big names in the sport. But I'm going to be honest with you, I do love our other shows that we put together. We've had some amazing guests in the past that always surprise us with their stories, and they definitely, I think, stretch a long ways. I have a harder time relating to, we'll say, a top athlete, right? A professional athlete. They, for whatever reason, it's just, it'd be great, but man, I'm never going to be that fast. But it's always nice to hear people, and this is not men in a way, that you face challenges. Maybe they had a little struggle in their life, and running has helped that, or, it's a highlight of their life, or it's brought them or their family together, their friends, or whatever it is. So, reach out to us. We've had a lot of people, and we've tried to go down this road a little bit, but we've had a lot of people talk to us about potential guests about addiction and depression, right? Because we do know that that's so prevalent today, and I see a lot of stuff on, running's my therapy. No, it's not actually therapy. Therapy's with somebody. You know what? Whatever you think helps you, I think you can call it whatever you want, right? But I know there's a lot of people that battle with something on these realms, and some of it is the higher end, whether it's drugs and alcohol, but there's other things you can be, addicted to, or depression could be different ways. And I think sometimes to hear people's stories, and I think overall as a society, we're getting better at understanding that, hey, it's not a weakness. It's not something that no one else has dealt with. And so if we can have some guests on the show that want to talk about their journeys and how they've come through those, I think those would be some great episodes. But we're always open for new topics. But yeah, reach out to us. But at the end, this is a trail running podcast, so that is the focus. It's not just to have somebody on that has a story. We'd like to keep it trail running based for sure. I think that just keeps up with what we're doing, and it's kind of the background. I've been in the sport for a really long time. Never been a top quality runner, finishing high-end races, so we're not coming at you from that angle. But I think I've been in the sport long enough, been around a lot of outdoor companies enough that we have a pretty good feel of what we're talking about. And even though the the dynamics changed over the last year and a half. We're going to even tackle that a little bit with some guests that have been in the running game far before me, and just get some perspectives on how trail and ultra running has changed, whether it's gear, races, the feel of what it is. We're going to definitely have those discussions because I think that's interesting, as well as just kind of bring some history, right? So there's so many things about this sport that we do the way we do now because of something before, right? And I think it's important for trail runners and ultra runners to respect the history and how we've got to where we've gotten. And it's obviously great to take it to that next level. But at the same time, I think it's important for everybody to know where the sport came from, some early struggles, some early challenges, but also some victories along the way that have made it what it is, which is just an incredible community of people. And we just want to add to that. We just want to showcase that and bring some great stories to you, the listeners. So please share the show with your friends. I know there's a lot of people that have done that in the past. Hopefully, we can get the word out. More listeners, the better, obviously, but the more listeners also, we get more feedback. We get more, topics. We get ideas from you on what you want to hear out there, because that's exactly why we're here, is to see and hear what you want to hear about. And we'll reach out and try to find those things. And we have a few other surprises planned once I get my act together, but super looking forward to it. I cannot tell everybody how much we've appreciated the support in the past, and I hope we can continue to get that moving forward. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride. I hope you'll jump on and join us for that. But again, this week we got 3 great shows. We're going to have another episode coming out on, like I said, we'll have 14, 15, 16 of this month, December. We're going to have one on the 21st. Then we're going to take a Christmas break. I even, want some time off to enjoy myself. And then we're going to be back on January the 4th. Man, Tuesday the 4th. So we're already going to be into 2022. But yeah, we've got some great episodes coming up before the end of the year. Take a little break, hit it hard again, and be moving forward. So reach out, give us some ideas, give us your feedback. Otherwise, share this with friends. And hey, if you're listening to this show, seriously, thank you so much for the support. We're looking forward to a great year. I'm your host of the TrailManners podcast, Eric Manning, and we are out. Thank you for listening to the TrailManners podcast. You can check us out on TrailManners.com or on social media through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Once you're on our website, check out our store page. That'll help support the podcast by buying a shirt or whatever else we have on there. Or you can hit us up on the contact page. You can let me know what you want to see, who you want to hear, or if you would like to be on the show. And if you could take just a minute to subscribe to the show and leave us a rating or review on iTunes or Facebook, I'd truly appreciate it. And lastly, TrailManners would love your support via our Patreon account. That's patreon.com/TrailManners to keep us alive and kicking. Until next time, this is your host of the TrailManners podcast, Eric Manning, reminding you, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Now go get it.